Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a Santa. Hope we're doing well, and today I finally got my Wi-Fi card for the PC, and so I am back on the main system. Hopefully that means that everything will work smoothly for tomorrow night's live stream as River now tries to get into my lap at just the right moment. But thank you all for your patience. I know that Saturday's stream, the bots could not be on to collect the digital cookies, but those should be back starting next stream. And I'm very, very excited. But what is also very exciting is the fact that movie theaters are set to reopen in several states. However, major chains like Cinemark, AMC, and I would assume also Regal are going to possibly hold off opening theaters, even if they're allowed to reopen in the states that they're located in, just to order, I guess, to protect their brand and to protect them as a company, because obviously there's going to be probably a hell of a lot of lawsuits if any person were to catch this virus well after all of these things start to reopen, which is why I imagine that even though certain businesses are allowed to start that process right now, they will probably want to hold off for a little bit, at the very least movie theaters, because a lot of people in a smaller space, enclosed, obviously that makes a lot of sense as to why they would try and be as cautious as they possibly could be. But this is an article today from Deadline. And so as it says in the headline, Texas is reopening movie theaters, as are many other states, but chains like Cinemark and AMC are still eyeing a mid-summer start. So it's still just great to hear that there's going to be a start to movie theaters reopening, and that it's going to at least happen during the summer. There was a time when we honestly thought that this could go on past summer and there would be no summer box office whatsoever. So this makes me very excited, because one of the things I love to do is to crunch box office numbers. It's one of the things that it's a primary thing that I do for Geeks and Gamers, which is why I've not been able to do my Sunday box office breakdown video for the past several weeks, and it's been driving me absolutely bonkers because obviously I love to go into these numbers. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Despite Texas Governor Greg Abbott permitting movie theaters to reopen on May 1st, and again, other states are also in line with this as well, in a state numbering nearly 30 million people, big movie chains like AMC and Cinemark, which are located in Plano, Texas, are still eyeing mid-summer reopenings, not only out of safety, but also due to the lack of fresh, new studio content. Now, if it was me, I would say that actually has probably very little to do with them reopening, because if I was the one owning a theater, I would say, okay, let's start a soft reopen. Let's just show movies that have already come out. Let's try and work with studios to get digital keys so that way we can show the movies that we have still on our servers, that were still out when all the theaters had to shut down in the first place. Maybe we can even get some older releases from them, try and entice people to come back. Let's cut down on capacity, things like that, and at least start to get the ball rolling. That's what my approach itself would be. So I think, obviously Deadline, just like with many other news sites, they're going to editorialize every now and then. I don't think it has as much to do with new, fresh content as it does to do with them trying to be very safe, and not safe because they want people to not catch the virus and for there to be even more spread, but because if even one person were to catch it, it would cause a crazy amount of lawsuits, and ain't nobody want anything to do with that. Abbott said that cinemas, restaurants, retailers, and malls could operate at a 25% capacity. Cinemark boss Max Zarati said in a conference call to analysts 2 weeks ago that the chain could operate and make money off of auditoriums with a 25% and 30% capacity limits. Alas, the problem lies in there's no new films, evident in Universal taking their June 19th Pete Davidson comedy, The King of Staten Island, straight to VOD on June 12th. But let's be honest, that's probably a good decision for them to do regardless, because Pete Davidson doesn't really have box office gold written all over him. Said a Cinemark spokesperson in response to this afternoon's news, Cinemark is continuing to follow the timeline Mark Zarati discussed on its April 15th liquidity call. The company is currently working towards a mid-summer opening date. Remember, they're the ones that first said July 1st is probably when we're going to have that process start. Again, the reopening process starts. The company is currently working towards a mid-summer opening date contingent upon health and safety regulations, as well as availability of studio content. The first release currently scheduled is Christopher Nolan's Tenet, set for July 17th, because he is the only person in Hollywood who said, nope, I'm not moving my release date. My movie is coming out. It's coming out in theaters. You will be damned if you try and release this to video on demand, and you will be damned if you're trying to move this release date. So once Christopher Nolan has all of his stuff set, It is set, and it's not going to change. It is important to note, going back to the article, that the theatrical exhibition's return to normalcy may span multiple months. It definitely will. Driven by staggered theater openings due to government limits, reduced operating hours, lingering social distancing, and a ramp-up of consumer comfort with public gatherings. In response to Georgia's reopening of movie theaters today, AMC released a statement on Friday exclaiming, "Not yet." So, as I said, other states are also in that process of starting to reopen things. I'm in Tennessee, so having Georgia reopen makes me excited. However, with AMC and Cinemark and likely Regal too not reopening their theaters yet, makes me frustrated because they're allowed to open, they're not going to open, and obviously I understand why from a business perspective, but I just also want to go to the theater again. I know that some people are like, nah, I kind of want to wait a little bit until things, simmer down, and I understand that. I respect your decision. But for me, I am a cinephile. I love movies. I love going to the actual theater itself. Video on demand can be great. However, there are certain films that need to be seen on a big screen, and it'd be really nice for theaters to start to reopen and to show, I would argue, and this is something that I've talked about previously, show some classic films, have some film festivals, offer discounted ticket rates. I think that would be a great way to bring people back, while at the same time also following anything that you might need to as far as regulations are concerned. So this is from AMC. As the largest movie theater chain in the United States, AMC is strongly committed to bringing movies back to the big screen safely and responsibly. And also, of course, they were basically in the red last year. They were in financial situation already. And so they definitely want to try and make as much money as they can when they return. As we plan our reopening, the health and safety of our guests and associates is our absolute highest priority. To be able to open, we also need a line of sight into a regular schedule of new theatrical blockbusters to get people truly excited about returning to their favorite movie theaters. But again, that cannot happen until theaters start to reopen. So that's the reason why I said it has more to do with them trying to avoid lawsuits than it does with them not having enough content to show. Again, if they were to contact the studios and say, hey, do y'all want to start making some money? The studios would say, yeah, let me just email you these keys real quick, unlock that content you already have, and then boom, start showing it. Trust me, the studios are not going to be dragging their feet on having their films being shown because they get a cut of those profits. So I don't buy that for a second. Again, they might be trying to use that as a line, and again, I understand to the point of it because they want to have releases that are going to bring in the needed people because, and as a person from Cinemark pointed out, they need to have a 20 to 30% capacity in order for them to be able to remain liquid, in order for them to actually be able to make their money back. And that's, again, assuming that the 20% capacity that you have is at 100% capacity, if that makes any sense. And so I understand where they're coming from with that. However, you need to have both of them working in tandem, the studios and theaters, if we're going to get this process actually set to go. But AMC is also committed to this as well, which makes me sad because most of the theaters in my location are all AMCs. All right, so let's go again back to it. Those blockbusters are scheduled to return this summer, beginning with Warner Brothers' Tenet and Disney's Mulan, with many major titles scheduled immediately thereafter. While we expect to open our theaters in the weeks ahead of these new blockbusters, again, slow process of reopening, utilizing creative programming of immensely popular previously released films, we would be wise to do so only directly in advance of the release of major new movie titles. And again, I think that is a fair assessment for him to make. AMC is currently working through every detail required to successfully showcase these exciting new releases to an environment that's safe and welcoming for moviegoers, and we will share those details as we get closer to the dates when our theaters will reopen. So looks like we're not getting anything until probably June or July. As they said, July is when the new movies are starting to come out, but as AMC just said, and again, Cinemark's probably thinking the same thing as well, you want to start the process of your theaters being open to bring people back to the theaters, to make them feel like they're safe, to make them feel like they can come back before you can even be ready for a major release. But what are your thoughts about this? Again, we've talked about this before. Do you think that movie theaters should just start to reopen? Again, I am of that mindset. If they're going to follow the guidelines that are in place, if they're going to actually, again, I worked at a movie theater, if they're going to actually clean the seats between screenings and do everything they're supposed to, then I don't really see a reason why they shouldn't start the process of reopening now. But again, that's just me. What are your thoughts about it? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, smash that like button, hit that subscribe. It helps out a lot. You are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless. And now a huge shout out to my April Patreon and Subscribe Star members. We have animation commentator Brian P., Dion, Divex, Elizabeth M., Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, Hail Father, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Wiener Dog Clan, Harold Francis, The Hunker Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, Intertrap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, J.J. Jonathan Jerembeck, Kenneth Cameo, Lady T, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Perpetual Punster, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, The DJD Show, and Tina B. And to my Subscribe Star members, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2 Cool 99, Dark Star 57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J. Rod the Beer Guru, Nevadan G. Adams, and ZK Man. And out of step with reality, and Albertus Magnus and JJB Net, and Tina Bojan, and Laura the Modern Major General story. I'm going to go ahead and leave that blank spot just previously in case any more people decide to become a Patreon or Subscribe Star member over the next few days. Just remember that as soon as you sign up, you are immediately eligible for any of the benefits. If you just sign up at the $1 tier on Subscribe Star or Patreon, you get a shout out at the end of every single video, including my live streams. If you're a $5 or up backer on either platform, you get access to exclusive giveaways where I give away several 4K Blu-rays, digital copies every single month as well. If you jump up to the $10 tier on either platform, you get access to all of that, plus you get access to an exclusive podcast that I do with my friend John the Flick Pick of John Flickinger and the Flick Pick fame. We do a bi-weekly podcast, so every 2 weeks or so we do one. So you get probably about 2 or 3 depending on what's going on, probably more so now with everything going on in the craziness of our world. But you do get access to that. Also, if you are at that $10 tier, it means that you get to take part in the Q&A part of that podcast. And so about 24 to 48 hours before the podcast, maybe even longer beforehand, I'll leave a post in the Patreon Subscribe Star. You'll be able to leave a comment on a question that you want us to answer, on a topic that you want us to cover in a future podcast as well. All of that you have access to. And if you're a $25 backer and up, you get all of those things. Plus, you get a t-shirt for your first month. That's right. You get a free t-shirt, high quality Odin's Movie Vlog t-shirt. So just make sure if you're at a $25 and up backer level, you leave your address. That way I know where to send that to. And also I will be messaging you to get your size information. That way I can send that out to you as quickly as possible. But you also get access to an exclusive Chosen of Valhalla live stream that we have once a month on this channel, where I invite you to be on the show. You can either show your face or not show your face, or hey, you don't have to show up at all. It's totally up to you. And we talk about a wide variety of things. We talk about movies that you've been watching, modern things going on, the pop culture, and pretty much anything that you yourself want to talk about. So if any of these things sound interesting to you and things that you'd want to do, please hit that Patreon Subscribe Star link in the description of this video and think about joining today. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And as always, God bless.